Good morning guys, welcome back to another video. So it is nice and early and it is also bloody cold to say the least. It is officially that time in South Australia where the daytimes are beautiful, like some of the best weather you could ask. There has been a little bit of like unseasonal wind, but outside of that it has been perfect. But yeah, night times, early mornings have been freezing to say the least, which is always nice when you want to rug up in bed. But yeah, no such thing as a sleep-in in my life, so we're making the most of it. But in this video I'm going to be taking you guys out to a spot called Whalers Way. Now if you haven't heard of this, it's about 32 kilometers outside of Port Lincoln, but it is completely privately owned, so you do need a permit to access it. But once you get in there, it is probably like some of the most rugged terrain. Like we're talking like beautiful cliff faces, rock pools, blowholes, like literally adventurer's dream. So we're going to get out and explore that. The permit that you get is about $40 and it does give you access for about 48 hours, so you can have one night camping out there. So we've got a lot to tick off in a short amount of time. But last night I camped out at this spot called Fishery Bay, which I think we'll camp out here on the way out as well. I've stopped here, we're going to watch the sunrise and then we'll head on into the gate to get access to Whalers Way. I made it out to the entry and this is effectively where we just have to put a PIN code into a lockbox, get the key, and then we've got access. So now that we've got access to Whalers Way, we're going to head right out and explore some of the rock pools in the area, just because we are working with tide time. So anytime that we are exploring rock pools, it is very much of a low tide activity, just especially in this area, like so many rogue waves and very unpredictable oceans. So we've got about a 20-minute drive to get out there and then we'll sort of backtrack and explore. But this whole area has such incredible history, so I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of fun facts as we explore as well. But how beautiful is that behind us? It's going to take us a little while to get to the rock pools if we keep stopping off like this, but here is a fun fact for you. So fact number one, Whalers Way actually got its name because of the whaling industry back in like the 1800s, I believe it was. Now, thankfully, this does not happen anymore. Effectively, it was the southern right whales that were hunted in this area, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they used to use the bones to make like corsets and umbrellas, which seems so stupid for what they were doing. But yes, the area is 100% protected now, and you'll typically see both humpback whales and southern right whales migrating through here from June to September. So we're a little bit short of the season at the moment, but yeah, that is a really cool fun fact, which I'm so glad that that doesn't happen anymore. It's just a little bit breezy right now, but we've made it out to the rock pool. So this particular spot, it's on the map as the Blowhole and Baleen rock pool, which is right behind us. Now, I don't know if you guys can hear the sound of the blowhole, but like it sounds pretty crazy. It is not quite peak low tide at the moment and it's still pretty early. So we've gotten here with plenty of time to be able to scale down, and then hopefully it starts to warm up so we can jump in the rock pool. It actually looks like there's a couple of rock pools. So there's like one over here, and then the main one that we will be scaling down to is right there. So the sun's not quite hitting it, but it is incredible. How insanely blue is that rock pool behind us? I cannot wait to jump in. But one thing that I do with every single rock pool that I visit, which I highly recommend everyone does this as well, regardless whether or not you're at high tide or low tide, is just keep an eye on the rock pool for, you know, a period of time. So I'll usually just watch it, sort of see what the waves are doing. Although you can't predict what waves are going to do, I think that, you know, if there's one rogue wave, there might be a couple more. So that's just one little safety thing that I do every single time. But yeah, this spot is insane. That was actually not as cold as I was expecting, so that's definitely a win. But we're going to start making our way out of here and onto the next spot because we have got so much more to see. It's definitely a lot windier up here than it was down at the rock pool, so a little bit colder. I might actually make myself a coffee and then figure out where we're going to head off to next. Now, not far from where we just were, I just came out to a spot called Thick Stone Crevice. So there are heaps of these crevices all over Whalers Way. This is just one of many. Now, as far as camping goes in Whalers Way, you can pretty much camp more or less wherever you want. There is a couple of spots that are sort of like designated camping sites, and right behind us over here, there is a spot called Red Banks. That is looking incredible from this far away, so I feel like that's where we're going to camp tonight. So I'm slowly making my way back towards where we actually entered Whalers Way, but I've stopped off at Trig Point. Apparently there's some really good fishing around there as well. And then I've just stopped off here at this sinkhole, which is pretty cool. But one thing that I do really love about Whalers Way is you could easily get around the entire place with a 2-wheel drive. So you don't need a 4-wheel drive, but there's obviously going to be some tracks that I wouldn't recommend taking if you have a 2-wheel drive vehicle. But even outside of that, like, it is all so well signposted. So like, it's easy enough to actually find your way around. There's very scattered reception, so I wouldn't rely on that if you're coming out here. If you guys thought the rock pool we saw this morning was incredible, wait till you see what I just found. So on the map there's this spot called Swimming Hole, which I don't know, for some reason I thought it would just meant like a beach or something, but it is another rock pool, but getting down there is a little bit sketchy. So I'm gonna make my way down there. I'm gonna take really minimal gear with me, but let me show you guys this spot. Incredible is that rock pool. Now I do feel like this one is a little bit more exposed than the one we're at this morning, so with the tide coming in I think I'm going to play this one on the side of caution, maybe come back to this one tomorrow at low tide. But from here we might start heading back down towards Red Banks where we're going to camp for tonight, check out a few more spots, and then apparently there's a really cool beach there that we can chill at. So I did get a little bit distracted and I was on a mission to make sure that we had the best possible campsite for the night. I'm thinking we struck gold. So I already had on my list the Red Banks beach, but I did a little bit of driving around just to make sure there wasn't a better spot. Luckily from like the entryway right to the end of Whalers Way, it's probably like 20 to 30 minute drive, so it's not too bad to have to zip around a little bit. But yeah, we've come out to this spot. On the maps it's actually listed as camping on the cliffs, and it is not lying. We are literally on the cliff, which I'll have to show you guys this spot, but I'm gonna go for a walk down to the beach, just make sure that this is the correct camping location. If there was wind, this spot would not be ideal, but there is virtually no wind. So if this is where we're camping for the night, this is pretty epic. But hey, as the lady at the information center said, you can literally camp anywhere. I don't know if my camera is doing justice how freaking blue that water is behind us. Now we just have to figure out how to get down there. This whole place is giving me like deserted island vibes, and I've barely seen anyone since I've been here, but how freaking cool are these entrances to like rock pools and beaches? So let's go down there and relax for a little bit. That sun is packing an absolute punch, but it's literally right over the water, so I reckon we're gonna have the most incredible sunset here. But I've got back to camp, I've set up, I've had a shower, we're literally cooking dinner as we speak. You guys gave me so many tips last time on cooking a good steak, so hopefully it works out pretty well this time and we don't have the flies to come with it. So let's give it a go. my steak, I've got my tea. That's probably the one thing that I'm loving about the fact that the nights are a little bit cooler is I can go back to drinking tea, which is my absolute favorite. But with tomorrow, we have got so many more places to tick off. I don't think there's like an official time you have to leave, but if you ever wanted to camp more than one night, which is included, you can just call the information center and book, and I think it's like $10 a night, so it's pretty cheap overall. But I think we'll be able to see most of what we want to see tomorrow anyway, so I'll see you guys then. Good morning, guys. I'm not even kidding. I think I jinxed myself last night because around 2 a.m. I had to get up and move my car because we probably had about 50-kilometer winds and the rain was coming in sideways, which is not fun at all. But anyway, this morning is not really looking that much better weather-wise. So I'm glad we ticked off a lot of the really cool beaches and rock pools yesterday because that is absolutely off the cards today. So we might need to just change our plans ever so slightly, but I've come out to a spot called Cape Wiles. I did actually try to stop in at Black's Lookout on the way, but it's actually closed. So let's check out this spot and then we'll figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the day. All right, she is definitely very breezy, so no drone for this particular one, although I feel like that would be such an epic shot. So I'm thinking we might actually start making our way out of Whalers Way now, back over to the Fishery Bay campsite where we're staying tonight. Now, Fishery Bay is actually still part of Whalers Way, but you can access that area without a permit, which is really cool. So let's head back over that way and fingers crossed the weather hopefully takes a bit of a turn for the better. So I did end up coming out to Fishery Bay and I've actually come onto the beach just to change it up for this afternoon, relax a little bit here. But one really cool and last fun fact about Whalers Way, including Fishery Bay, is effectively the coastline that makes up this entire region is actually believed to be over 2.6 billion years old, which apparently that does make it one of the oldest in Australia. So that is definitely a really cool thing about the region. But overall, the coastline here is absolutely stunning. I think it is well and truly worth the $40 that you pay to come and explore. And as I mentioned, Fishery Bay is not necessarily included in that permit, but the camping sites here are literally $10. It's so cheap. And this spot is beautiful. So thank you guys so much for following along. I hope you enjoyed this part of the coast as much as I did. I'm going to continue to make my way around the Eyre Peninsula, so I'll see you guys next week.